right, welcome back to the Crimson Metal Show. I am your host, Glenn Flansburgh, and I'm on the phone here with Robert Garvin and the rest of the boys from Cirith Ungol. Now, you guys, I've known about you guys for years and years and years. When I was 17, 18 years old, I had just left Farmville, Oklahoma, and joined the Navy, and I was in Norfolk, Virginia, at a mall. And I'm like, I need to find some new metal. And I'm looking at in this record store in a mall, and I must have only made it up to the C's, because I'm looking at this album cover, and I'm going, man, I really want to listen to this. And then I'd look at another one, and I go, well, I like this. Look at this one too. And those two albums were Cirith Ungol, One Foot in Hell, and then Into the Pandemonium from Celtic Frost. And you know the whole don't judge a book by its cover. Well, back then that's what we had to do. We couldn't just preview it, and if we didn't like it, skip to the next song. So I ended up buying Cirith Ungol, and I ended up going back and buying Frost and Fire a couple of weeks later too. So I've been listening to you guys for years and years and years, and I think it's great that you guys are back together, and you guys, it looks like you guys are touring. So you guys had some great news that you wanted to tell us.
Well, the great news is actually we're back together. And how that it came about, a gentleman from Europe came over, who puts on a show, Keep It True, which is in Germany. And a local fellow here, Jarvis Leatherby, who's in a pretty big up-and-coming band, Night Demon. Both these two guys got together, and they took us aside. Actually, Jarvis wanted to do a festival of his own here in Ventura. And so he put on this first Frost and Fire 1, which was a tribute to our band. And so all the band members were there, and these two guys were there, and they took us aside. And the gentleman from Europe says, he goes, you know what? He goes, if you guys get back together, he goes, I'll fly you out, and you could be guest at my big festival. And he goes, and if you guys, it's kind of secret, but he goes, if you guys get back together, you guys can headline my festival next year. And he says, I know several other people that would have your band headline also too. So if you guys get back together and start playing again, there's probably some good news for the band. And so we kind of talked about it. And not everyone could actually make it. Mike, our original bass player, he lives in Las Vegas, and just work commitments. And you mentioned tour. We're not going to be touring per se. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be flying around to like these big festivals or shows and just doing kind of like one-off.
The one-off like festival, like the classic metal festival kind of thing in Europe, and like some of them in America too. So we're doing one in New York, and I think we just announced another one in Baltimore. Some other things are going on in the United States too, along with the the Keep It True festival in Germany, and Up the Hammers in Greece, and another festival named after one of our songs besides the one here, Frost and Fire festival, called Chaos Descends in a different part of Germany. So. Also a festival called Hammer of Doom. So we got a bunch of stuff coming up this year.
And the festival Hammer of Doom, actually, we're headlining over Lucifer's Friend. And I'm not sure whether you or your listeners are familiar with them, but when we were in high school, that was like one of our favorite bands. They were kind of like a Deep Purple, Black Sabbath band from Germany. And they're still quite renowned.
Right. So you guys you're hitting the festival scenes and playing some pretty good shows. So when you guys
we're also headlining, which is amazing for us because most of our lives we were opening up for bands like Rat or Lita Ford.
Why is it my fault?
How do they choose their songs?
Sorry.
So when are you guys going to come to the middle of Oklahoma and play a show?
Well, I'd like to. It's funny is we're in the studio. We kind of lucked out. We were looking around when the band got back together, trying to find a place to play, and it's kind of hard to find a place to play where you have Marshall stacks and big drums and stuff. We ended up we're back in the studio where we recorded all our albums, and actually right across the alley is a gentleman and his son. I don't want to mention any names, so I don't want to get anyone probably without their permission, but his son goes to the University of Oklahoma, so it's kind of a world.
Boomer Sooner.
You got an in right there. You got an in. You got a place to crash.
Yep.
You just crash in his dorm room, right?
I think we need Cirith Ungol to headline Norman Music Fest. What do you say, Glenn?
There you go, Norman Music Fest.
Well, we are going to be playing some more stuff that hadn't been announced in here in the U.S. But I think we're kind of like an acquired taste, and I think a lot of these guys like the guys in Europe, we went over to Keep It True. Everyone there knew who we were, and I mean, we have stories from that, and one of them is just kind of amazing. We went to the back, we got locked out, so we go to the back entrance. There's all these guys in leather jackets and chains and stuff, and I look over to Tim and I go, this could either go one way or the other. And we get up there and they point at Tim. They go, Tim Baker, and they recognize me, and they all started singing Frost and Fire. So this is like 1 a.m, drunk Germans, and they were all like hugging us and stuff. And so I mean, it was amazing. So everyone there, knew who we were, and so we're going back there. Matter of fact, Fate's Warning was playing. We're like up backstage, like off to the side, and there's all these beautiful all the fans now are under 30 and they're half women, and this girl whispers in my ear, she goes, "That's you next year." And we're looking out over this sea of people, and it just so we're real excited. We've been playing really good. I think we're playing better than we were when we were together originally. We're a little bit more mature, working on some new material. Want to put out another record. We're working on that right now. So that's kind of the good news I wanted to tell you.
That was going to be one of my questions is can we expect a new Cirith Ungol album sometime in the future?
Oh yeah, we're like Rob said, we're planning on doing that. Yeah, I mean we're not in a really big hurry right now because, like I said, we just within the last year, I mean we reformed and we had to get all new equipment, find a place to play, and get geared up for the first reunion gig and all that kind of stuff. So I mean that it's been a while since we did that already. So now we've got all this other stuff planned coming up. So we are working on it, and hopefully that we are going to do that, but I mean, it's not going to be like, next week or anything. So, but I mean, it will happen. I mean, we're looking forward to making it happen. So, we're working up towards that goal.
Well, put it this way, with the shows that are not announced yet, we're actually every month of the year, starting in April, we're playing either headlining a festival or like second on the bill for every single month of the year. So we're kind of like, we're kind of overwhelmed just by even that, and almost every one of these is a long ways from where we live. So
yeah, it's pretty cool actually.
Well, for all of the listeners out there who have never heard Cirith Ungol, why don't we give them a little taste? And
good idea.
Yeah, what's this first track that we're going to play? This is Master of the Pit. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Good choice.
Well, it's off our best album, which I think is our best album, King of the Dead, which came out in 1984. Cover artwork by Michael Whalen, a famous illustrator that did all the Michael Moorcock books. Elric, who's an albino, kind of like Conan the Barbarian. He had a sword, Stormbringer, and his actual sword, Deep Purple named an album after, and Blue Oyster Cult wrote a song about. We actually had all our album covers were the same covers on the book series of books.
All right. Well, let's play it. All right, welcome back to the Crimson Metal Show. That was Master of the Pit off of King of the Dead by Cirith Ungol, and on the phone are the members of Cirith Ungol. And we were just talking over the break about a bunch of stuff. You were recommending a band that's who was that band?
Oh, it's a band from Germany, Powerwolf.
Powerwolf. So you highly recommend them, is what you're saying.
Well, they're on a record label, and they actually, you mentioned symphonic orchestras. They actually put out for each album. They put out, actually not them playing with them, but a symphony. Playing their music for that album. It's interesting.
Okay, all right. Now we were also wondering, how did you guys get formed originally, and how did you pick the name Cirith Ungol? Because it's an odd name for a band, and then when you write your music, where do you get your ideas?
Well, short story how we got together. Greg and I. Greg's not here tonight. He lives out of town, but he's back in the band. We formed the band in 1971. We were in a accelerated.
I was 2.
So was I.
Well, 2-year-old kids now are listening to stuff. Actually,
yeah.
But anyway, we were in this advanced English class, and we were assigned to read The Lord of the Rings. And so Greg and I, we were already friends. We had some other interests outside of the class. So we'd kind of been together, and we liked music, and So, we were kind of looking for a name, and we actually came up with a name. It's actually pronounced with a K, like Cirith Ungol. If you read, in the back of the book, there's like 3 or 4, 5 or 6, what do you call it?
Additions?
Yeah, well, not additions, but kind of like
Addendums?
yeah, addendums
Oh,
at the end of the
okay, yeah.
where they actually have the whole alphabets and how to pronounce it and stuff. But anyway,
Oh, the appendix.
yeah, appendixes. And so we actually got our name from it was a castle leading into Mordor where a giant spider Shelob lived, and it was just, we thought it was kind of cool. What's funny, a lot of people said, "Oh, that's, no one's ever going to like that or listen to it," but there's been 3 or 4 bands that have came out with similar names from the Lord of the Rings also too. And we originally, just before they ever made the movie, we got the rights to use the name from the original people that owned the rights at the time. They actually made a cartoon of if you can believe that. Most people haven't seen it, but there was a cartoon of the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I've seen it. Ralph Bakshi did the animation. Yeah, it's excellent animation. Excellent animator. So
anyway, Tim could probably tell you, a lot of the songs on our first album or all the songs were written by Greg, and that album was what we were trying to do was get a record contract, so they were our most commercially accessible songs. And then our second album, actually the first album, all the record companies, everyone said, "Oh, that stuff's too heavy. We can't play that on the radio," or that's too heavy for for what we're looking for. And that was kind of our commercial stuff. So our second album was actually, we decided the song you just played, Master of the Pit, we decided just to pull out all the stops and play like what we wanted to write or play without having to try to fit it into any kind of like fit around peg into a square hole. So we decided just to write our own stuff, and kind of that's how we did the rest of our career pretty much.
all right.
Hey guys, this is Evan. I'm one of the guys that's helping Glenn out with the Crimson Metal Show. And one thing I've noticed looking at, I know at least 2 of the tracks that we're playing tonight from you guys, is we have songs that are over 8 minutes. How do you think it came about that you guys put together these epically long, metal songs?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. It's not a conscious decision, really. I mean, it's just the way that the way that the feeling goes. I mean, and you get like into a group, you get a certain riff going. I mean, and it fits like some theme or some lyrics that you want to do, and it just it stretches off into whatever it needs to be. Really, I mean, we have songs that are like just a couple of minutes, a few minutes long. And then we have, like you said, like some of the epic ones that are monstrous, like 6, 7, 8 minutes long. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's not a conscious decision or anything like that. But I mean, it does kind of make it. You're able to tell a better story and have more of a theme riding through the song, but it's got enough room to stretch out and find its groove, I guess.
Yeah, and you got to remember, we're not constrained by what used to be like radio time, like song had to be 3 minutes or 4 minutes. I mean, Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin, they actually cut out half the solo, and the only song that was really long, I remember when I was a kid, was In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. And
yeah, that thing's like a whole side of the album, right?
Well, they put
like the bathroom album, bathroom break record.
Well, actually, most of the DJs would put it on like at they go off at 12 o'clock, so they put it out at
11:30 or
11:30 start it, so they could go take their break or whatever.
Do you guys ever let when you play these songs live? I mean, I could hear especially in the solos, even some extended jam sessions. So, have you ever let these songs breathe even more in a live setting?
No, not really. I mean, we pretty much do them, as close to the record as we can get them, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird because, I mean, there's a lot of bands that kind of do like you just said. I mean, they'll like extend stuff out, do different versions of the song, stuff like that. But I mean
like the 30 minutes of Dazed and Confused?
Yeah, you probably go to a lot of concerts too. I mean, just like we have over the years and stuff. And I mean, and most people kind of go, oh, they changed that song, that sucked. If you want to hear what people want to hear what they what they're used to hearing and what they they've come to love on the records, basically. So I mean, I feel the same way when I kind of go see a band. They're like, oh, they changed that shit, or they did like a weird medley of like a bunch of songs or something. So we try to keep it pretty true to what it was. Because, like certain things like the ending of like, the very end of the concert, we do Cirith Ungol and stuff like that, which is like, some extended giant like crescendo, never-ending ending we call it. But other than that, no, we try to keep it straightforward.
Plus,
Cool.
we're proud of the songs, and we wrote them just like if you're Beethoven or Bach or something, we wrote the songs with a specific idea in mind, and each song stands on its own, even though they kind of themed generally kind of like a doomy, kind of gloomy. Even back then there wasn't that much stuff to be smiling about, like in the world, just like there isn't today. So it's kind of cool that like we're playing the doom thing right as near the end of
It's all doomy.
Yeah, near the end of the world.
Well, speaking of that, guys, the next track that we have lined up is off of the first Cirith Ungol album that I bought, and it was always one of my favorites. And I'm wondering if you guys think that it is more applicable today than it was, 20 years ago.
Well,
with the way things have been going the last year and a half.
I don't think it's any more applicable. It's always been the same. I mean, they might have moved the doomsday clock a couple of seconds in the last like few years, but I mean, it's always been what, like it's always been applicable. Back then when we wrote it, I mean, basically it was like the Cold War and all that kind of stuff was going on, so it was pretty testy.
Right.
So everything's always been kind of like weird up and down the world, but I mean,
Hey, before you start that, there's a backstory to that song.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it.
Well, I don't know if you ever remember, there was kind of like a video that came out called Heavy Metal. It was like a movie, and it would.
Oh yeah, that movie's great. I love it.
Okay, animated.
It's my Lochnar. Give me my Lochnar.
Perfect. There's a bunch of new younger artists that are putting out a new movie, which is similar to that, in a similar vein. Not exactly like that, but very similar. And it's called Planet of Doom. And we were actually one of the top bands that are actually supplying music for it. So it's going to be out in the next, I think the next year or so. But I mean, what was kind of cool about it, it's, we have the song Planet of Doom.
We have Doom Planet, yeah. So
Doom Planet.
Yeah, so I mean, it's weird because we saw it online. They were like doing a Kickstarter thing and stuff like that, like, Planet of Doom and stuff. And I saw it on there, and I got a hold of that guy, and I said, hey, we're in a band, whatever, we did a song called Doom Planet. He knew what it was. He goes, oh, yeah, we really wanted to use that. We've been trying to find you guys or whatever. So, we ended up, like, getting a hold of them and getting together, and, they're going to use that as, like, one of the theme songs on the movie. Which is actually, they kind of describe it as an extension of kind of like the heavy metal movie. It's not like there's not any like dialogue and stuff like that, but just the animation to go with all of it, the heavy metal songs and stuff. And it's, if you can go online and look at parts of it already, and it like looks fantastic. And it's like so cool, man. It's called Planet of Doom.
Well, I will definitely do that. So,
but anyway, this is one of the songs featured in that movie though, which you're going to play right now, called Doom Planet.
Doomed Planet. Here we go. All right, welcome back to the Crimson Metal Show. I'm your host, Glenn Flansburgh. I'm on the phone with Cirith Ungol. We just got finished listening to Doom Planet by Cirith Ungol.
Hey.
That album came out in '86.
1986.
Yeah, in 1986, and
we were only 3 years old when we made that. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, you guys rock. So
we're actually sitting
in the studio where we made it right now.
Oh, that's very nice. Hey, I got a question about how has because you guys broke up in about what, 1992, something like that?
Yeah.
91, 92.
91, 92. Now, this was back before, obviously, before the interwebs and the digital millennia. So, in your opinion, how has the digital revolution changed your music?
Well, it really hasn't changed our music. It's changed the way that people can like find out about our music, and like millions of other bands they never would have heard of, like back in the day. Thank God for the internet. That's what we say, is because I mean we wouldn't be talking right now if not for that, for whole revolution. Because I mean that's what's kept the band, really what's kept the flame alive all these years is the internet, the birth of the internet, and the whole classic metal scene. Now everybody's able to like share things, listen to things, tell people about stuff, and it's all right there online, so people can like experience it like right then immediately, and if they like it, they can go find it physically or like get it online and stuff like that. So I mean it's really been a blessing for us. Like I said, I mean otherwise who knows? I mean we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now if it wasn't for like all these years of the internet and people finding out about us, and all the fans, that we had from back in the day still keeping, interest in the band and everything. And, it's actually been great for us. So, I mean, we have no complaints about it.
Well, what about like the recording process? You find it easier, more difficult, more tedious, or was it just really more tedious back in the analog days?
Well, well, I mean, I don't know if recording is really that tedious. It depends on what you're doing. But like I said, I mean, I don't think it's really changed. We haven't really been doing that much recording. Like I said, we're in the recording studio where we did all those records, but we have our practice studios in the same, facility here.
Right.
So, I mean, it's still the same. I mean, you still got to plug in mics, and you still got to do, play, analog instruments and stuff, no matter if it's going into a digital board or an analog board. So it's really the process is the same, except you're able. I mean, you can do a lot of it like, mobily, or you can do, take a chip home or whatever, take, a USB home and work on stuff and bring it back and plug it into the, I mean, it's a lot more convenient than it used to be, that's for sure. But
yeah.
the process itself and the way you create things and make things, I don't think it's changed that much, really.
Now, have you guys considered remastering your original albums?
Well, they've been doing that right now. Like in Europe, they just last year they finally got the rights back to Paradise Lost, and they went in, and Metal Blade Europe, had a couple of really good guys come in. Different guys that did. One guy did the remastered the CD, and one guy remastered vinyl. So it was never out on vinyl back in the day at all. Paradise Lost. It never had the big cover. It never had anything. So they just recently released that actually on CD, a digipack, which is really cool, and vinyl, actually different kinds of vinyl, black vinyl, like splattered vinyl, it's like blood splatters on it and stuff. I mean, people can get those online. I mean, they go, look on our site or on Metal Blade and stuff, and and they're redoing right now. They're doing a same treatment for King of the Dead. So
that would be nice, because one thing I did notice from Paradise Lost is that the production quality was a lot better than the previous albums.
Well, yeah, like I said, by then, like, technology had changed a little bit, and we got a little bit more mature and stuff like that. So, I mean, it just sounded different. We had, obviously Jimmy was in the band then, so I mean, our it's a little bit different style, but I mean, it was a little more kind of like a modern metal style than what we'd done before. But it still was Cirith Ungol. So, and like I said, if you really want to hear how good that sounds, I mean, go get the new version of it that's been remastered and all that kind of stuff, and it sounds fantastic.
Right.
And we've actually heard the remastered and stuff of the King of the Dead that they're getting ready to do, and it sounds really good. And we've actually included some special bonus tracks on the reissue of King of the Dead that's coming up. It's actually live stuff from the reunion show that we just did in October. So
yeah, and these are fancy. These have 20-page full color booklets in there, and like Tim said, they're all on colored vinyl. Unbelievable. They're all made in Germany, so these are like very like the nicest stuff I've ever seen. I never thought our stuff would actually be re-released, in this high quality of packaging, but it's really pretty fantastic.
Right. So, as far as any dates, what you said that it was getting ready to come out. Do you have any release dates for anything coming up soon?
Well, the King of the Dead will be out. And he told us it's okay to mention it, but it's going to be out to coincide with our first show, which is April 28th at Keep It True Festival in Germany. And that's a show every year. It sells out in 30 minutes because so many people want to go to it. It's considered probably one of the most exclusive festivals. I think they might even have a lottery where everyone buys tickets, and if you win the lottery, then you get the ticket.
Well, no, the guys who already have tickets are get the first dibs on the tickets. So most everybody just buys the tickets for the next year. So it's really weird. Yeah, but that release is supposedly coincide with that show, which is in April. So it should be out around April. But like I said, the redone Paradise Lost is out right now, but it's not here. It's released in Europe. King of the Dead is going to be worldwide. Paradise Lost is only in Europe right now because there's a weird licensing deal with Warner Brothers and everything. They owned it for a while. So, but anyway, I mean, like I said, they're both going to be available here pretty soon, and hopefully we can do the same treatment with the other two records in the future.
That would be great. That would be great. Well, I've got one of the guys from the local band Locust Grove here, and I think he's got a question for you.
Hey man, how you doing?
What's going on, dude?
Nothing. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. My big question for you guys is, after being split up for so long, I mean, how was the process of getting the whole band back together? I mean, what did it take to just kind of get the ball rolling again after being, split up for so long?
Well, like Rob said before, I mean, they did the festival here, and it kind of got everybody kind of back together again, at least in the same vicinity and stuff. Like we hadn't all hung out like that for a while, and then we got we kind of got the side thing going. Like, hey, man, you guys should think about maybe get back together. The time is right. A lot of people have been waiting for 20 years to see you guys and stuff. So, we what ended up happening is our good friends, like I said, Night Demon have a practice facility here in town. And Rob ended up going over there and Dustin, the drummer of Night Demon, let him pound on his drums and stuff like that. And Rob felt pretty good about it. So, then I showed up over there one night and then, Jimmy too. And, we just kind of played a few times over there and kind of go, well, man, we might be able to actually do this. So, we ended up, like Rob said, trying to get Flint to do it, but that didn't work out. And we actually did get Greg. So it's we actually have 2 guitar players live, so which we never had before and stuff. So, and it was kind of strange at first, because we hadn't done it in so long, but it didn't take that long to get back in the groove. And then, of course, had to buy all new stuff. Rob buy a new drum set, which is top of the line DW set, looked like a Ferrari or something. We had to place to practice and everything. So, I mean, it was it took a little bit of time, and then we had to get ready for that the second Frosted Fire, which actually headlined at. So, it was pretty cool though.
The hard part for me was I swore I'd never touch another pair of drumsticks.
Yeah, you did.
As long as I would live. So
he said he never touched another set of drums as long as there were scumbags in the music industry.
Yeah, that's
which that's never going to change. Really.
Yeah.
A couple of people told me, they go, hey, I think you're locked into that one.
Yeah.
But, when I started playing, I was even crying, tears, just I'd love playing drums, and that was what I wanted to do with my life, and I stopped it just because out of kind of anger and, being unhappy with the way we were treated by the record companies. But that's something I'd like to pass on to your listeners or any other people that are musicians. Kind of, it's like what you need to do with your life is your life needs to be what you want it to be, and not let other people push you around into into something you don't want to, in a place you don't want to get to. And I know it sounds weird, but I always meet young kids and they want to be in a band, and I tell them to go to college. I said, go get your college degree, play music along the side, and that way, when you're graduated, you can get a good job, so you can get all the good toys. Guitars and amps and band rooms are expensive, and
They are.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you want road ready gear too, because with our gear, we all of our amps, all of our head racks, they're all in cases, and those cases weren't cheap. We've worked so long just to get them, and and especially because I play with a gigantic drum set as well. And buying all the equipment for that, cases, new cymbals, new heads.
It's the cymbals.
Oh, the fucking! I mean, the cymbals are what's bad, because you have to be very top notch with cymbals. You always got to take care of them, keep them clean, and.
Why anybody wanted to be a drummer, man?
Yeah, I know. I always get told, I was like, why couldn't you play the flute or the clarinet or something?
The recorder.
The recorder, yeah. Something that only requires one case. Yeah. That's something you just carry in your pocket to every show,
Well, that gives me a chance to plug Paiste cymbals, which are the best cymbals in the world,
By Paiste,
which I endorse.
Awesome, yeah.
The Paiste artist, yeah.
Man, I don't know, with Paiste to me it's kind of weird because, Paiste cymbals, they sound good. I like how they cut and they're so bright. But I've been playing with Sabian AAXs forever. And I'm in love with those cymbals. They're the best.
Well, Rob used to be a Zildjian man back in the day, but since he's now sponsored, he's
No. Here's what happened. I started breaking, I crack all my cymbals, and when I started using the 2002 Paiste cymbals, and I've already broken a couple of them, but I also have a gong, and that was a Paiste gong, and I just kind of, I have kind of brand loyalty to them, and also the sounds, the German and Swiss engineering over there. The gongs are made in Germany and the cymbals in Switzerland, and it's just you can pull them off the assembly line, and one sounds exactly like the next. So you don't, they're handcrafted, but they're handcrafted to such a high tolerance, just like German automobiles. But that's what's great about instruments and different kinds of instruments is they're different sounds. So everybody
can get what they want to
yeah,
get.
Yeah, exactly. So
Right.
like I'm playing a set. My DW set's made out of solid oak, and boy,
Nice.
it sounds good. But my buddy Dusty Squires, the drummer for Night Demon, his drum set's fiberglass, and it's made.
What?
He made it himself.
Yeah,
It sounds freaking great.
Yeah, there's a company here in our town called Pulse Drums, and they actually build. They make these. They wrap them out of fiberglass, and the thing is so damn loud. I mean, it projects so much. You can't believe how great they sound.
So like this, like, cause I own a Yamaha O Custom. That's the set I've always played, and I'm just like, that's crazy, because I would never think that. I mean, any drums would be made out of fiberglass, but like there's a whole bunch of like drum elitists, that say that maybe maple and oak have a totally different sound, or like the shells are thicker, deeper, or whatever. But like fiberglass, I could not even imagine.
Some people play those nylon ones that
the
are
nylons,
see-through.
yeah. Oh yeah, the acrylic ones too, which the acrylic ones are amazing. But like, I just, like people have always been so debatable of, maple and oak and rosewood. They're just like, oh, they all completely sound different if you just listen to them. And like, I never hear the difference. I just go by like what's more durable on the road, and oak is.
Now, back in the day, Rob used to have a stainless steel drum set.
Yeah, it was given to me by William F. Ludwig Jr. Actually as an
like a prototype.
Yeah, an endorsement prototype thing. But I used that on our first 3 albums, and a lot of guys said, this stainless steel drum sucked. And John Bonham played one for a while, and actually DW Drums is actually going to start making stainless steel drums, just like I think I think the head technology now is so advanced that back in the day it was kind of harder to get them to sound full, and that's what I like about this oak set. And I think DW, what they do, the shells are really, really thin, so it's kind of like, that's why I wanted the oak, because it was almost as loud as my buddy's fiberglass. It seemed to project a lot. So.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. It's like that's drummers.
You never know what they make drums out of concrete now, don't they? Too?
Yeah, they
Yes.
Holy smokes.
They make a snare out of concrete too. Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, so guys, could you talk just a little bit about your writing process? I mean, you are, I assume you guys got together, to write songs together as a band, and now you have technology where you can write it as an individual and share riffs and bare bones song structure, over the internet if a band wants to. Or are you guys still just getting together and writing songs and getting together in a room? I mean, where was it at, and has it changed at all?
Well,
that's what we were doing right before we started this interview.
Yeah, we wrote, almost completely finished a song.
I mean,
that we've been working on.
We kind of do it all together, like, you know what I mean. And eventually we'll get to, like I said, we just kind of started doing this process again. But yeah, it'll just we get down there, we hammer out the main like structure and stuff like that, and then make a cheap recording of it, take it home or whatever, and then Jimmy will figure out what goes with what, and and then everybody can just figure out what the drum parts are, and then whatever the lyrics and stuff are. So it's just it's just kind of the same as it was. It's just easier to do things now with the new technology. That's all.
I'm going out on a limb here, and maybe he doesn't want me to say this, but Tim actually wrote a whole series of new lyrics. So we have enough for like 2 or 3 albums of the lyrics. So what we're doing now is just putting music to it.
Wow.
And,
Well, then I think he needs to call my wife, because we're working on a song for a music video that I have to shoot in less than 2 weeks, and we haven't finished the chorus yet because we've hit writer's block on it. So
Writer's block. I recommend Jim Beam.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, you mentioned earlier, we have a social media presence. We have a Facebook page, and then I have Robert Garvin. I have a Facebook page, and then we're on Instagram, Cirith Ungol Band, and then also on Twitter. It's like capital C Cirith U. That's where we are on Twitter. So we're we're trying to use social media to try to get the word out about the band getting back together and about our shows and stuff like that. So,
well, it sounds great, and I really appreciate you guys coming on to the show and telling us all the good news. And I really, really look forward to seeing you guys,
Cool.
on the road here,
Hey.
hopefully in 2017. But
Yeah. Can I make another? I just want to make another plug. Like I said, I mean, we actually the main thing is probably the Cirith Ungol Facebook page. So if you want to go on there, and right now, our good friends in Night Demon, every year they do a charity thing here. It's called Metal Care. They set up a foundation like in 2013 or whatever that helps out people in the community and stuff. And we've gotten together with them this year to do a one of a kind, one-off T-shirt with our guy Elric that's on all our record companies and their
Right.
logo guy Rocky. You have to go on our Facebook page or Night Demon's Facebook page and check it out. We're doing a one-of-a-kind limited edition T-shirt with both those guys doing with a couple of kids from the YMCA doing it's an illustration of obviously, but it's Elric and Rocky and a couple of kids doing the old YMCA Village People thing. It's really cool. It's one of a kind, and you guys go check it out, and it's for a good cause. So I mean, I just kind of got to plug that while I'm thinking about it. So
All right.
besides go on there and buy a bunch of merchandise and records and stuff too.
All right. Well, we'll
it's
plug
the
away.
only time metal is not good for kids.
Yeah. So we're just about out of time, and before you go, I just want to let everybody know that next week's Crimson Metal show, the locals will be Hyperdose, and calling in will be Rocky Gray from former drummer for Evanescence and We Are the Fallen. So it should be an interesting show next week. He's now doing a lot of film work now, and not so much music. He's still doing music, but mostly doing videos and film. So,
Awesome.
We'd like to thank you for letting us share some of the news about the band, and we look forward to maybe playing not right in Oklahoma City, but be playing somewhere near you.
You never
guys.
know, man.
you should. Now, guys, we got one more song for you of yours to play, and this is off Paradise Lost. Do you want to give me a lead in for it?
I believe it's Chaos Rising, right?
It is.
It's the
Yeah.
first song in a trilogy of 3 songs that Tim wrote. It's his epic trilogy. That's
Yeah, it's part of we call it the Chaos or the Chaos Rise, the trilogy, right? So it's it's just kind of the opening part of it's influenced by obviously the classic literature and stuff like that more than the sword and sorcery stuff, but some of it is. Yeah, it's got Dante and things like that kind of all thrown in there, but it basically tells the tale of the rise and fall and what's going to happen to mankind. So
So
enjoy.
So it's applicable. It's applicable
So
today
enjoy
just
the
as it
life
ever
fair.
was.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we go. This is called Chaos Rising.